Hello and welcome to this episode of Kit's Photography. I'm Kit, the photographer here at Bremac Photography here in sunny South Australia. Thank you for joining me on my channel. Now this episode's all going to be about moon photography. Now some people believe the moon is really easy to photograph, but in fact it's the opposite. Getting the levels right, using the right lenses, there's so much to really know about, and I'm going to explain what to do. So with the present Covid-19 pandemic, the levels of pollution all over the world have been going down and down because of people not driving around, because of industry shutting down and people not being able to get to work. What this has meant for photography is the skies are really clear for the first time in years. All over the world you can now see things which you couldn't see before. So here in South Australia, in fact here in Adelaide, some nights you can actually see the Milky Way with your bare eyes without using a telescope or a camera. So we're going to start by going out with a Nikon D850 with a 200 to 500 millimeter f/5.4 lens. Now what that means is the lens can open up to 5.4 and it's standard between the 200 to the 500 millimeters. We're also going to add a focal doubler in there as well. That'll increase the focal length to 1000 millimeters. Now I do put a caveat on that because using a focal doubler doesn't always make a better photograph. So you will find that it won't be as clear and it really is sometimes hard to focus. So I'll end up going back just to the 500 millimeters to show you how it works. After that, I'll take you back inside and show you how to edit your photograph on Infinity Photograph to make it look absolutely fantastic. So really all there is to do now is to wait for nightfall. Hello and welcome to this episode of Kit's Photography. Now I'm back outside again. Again, it's quite late tonight, but I don't need to be in the dark this time because this time I'm looking at the moon. So this is nowhere near as hard as capturing the Milky Way because you've got a bright white object in the sky, but that doesn't mean it's still easy. One of the biggest problems that new photographers have when it comes to photographing the moon is that you do have a big bright white light surrounded by black, and so automatic cameras try and take images and level it all out, but that's not what you need. What you need is full manual and to use your brain to actually get it to work. So there are a few things that you'll need to take photographs of the moon. Number one is obviously a camera body. You'll need a telescopic lens of some sort. Obviously not necessarily, but it's always best. And I've also got a focal doubler here as well. So this makes this 500 millimeter lens into 1000 millimeters. So I can zoom right in to the subject of the moon. Now, one of the most important things with all this as well, like taking the Milky Way, is having one of these, a remote shutter release. Now the reason why I say this is because you don't want the camera to move. One of the things with the moon is it travels very fast, so you'll notice I'm using a tripod here with a gimbal attached to it. This keeps the camera extremely still, but the problem with that is the moon actually moves. And so it moves very fast in fact, and so you have to try and keep up, and that's very difficult. So you have to have something you can easily move around and move quickly. So at the moment what I have my camera set on here is I have a shutter speed of 1/100th of a second, get a bit more light in. I've got my ISO set at a whopping 64, so it's very low indeed, so I get lots of detail in, and I've got the f-stop at 11. Now one of the reasons why the f-stop's set so high is because of the focal doubler here, that's as low as it goes. So what I have here is a Nikon 200 to 500 millimeter lens, which has a stable f/5.4 on it. So obviously you double that and it becomes f11. Now I'm going to try taking some photographs without the doubler on, so it'll be 500 rather than 1000 millimeters, and you always seem to get better quality photographs that way. So stay tuned, we'll get that sorted now. So let's take some photographs. So let's go inside and have a look on the computer, and I'll show you how to make this a perfect photograph of the moon. Okay, so I've got the Affinity Photograph program up and running here in front of me now. This is one of the photographs that I took, so let's get editing. Now you'll see that I took this in RAW. Really important, you take them in RAW, there's always more detail. You do the settings after you've taken the photographs in post, rather than the camera doing it for you. Now you'll notice the ISO is 64. Now obviously a lot of cameras don't get that low, but the D850 does. Now if your camera doesn't get that low, that doesn't matter, just set it as low as you can. I've got an f-stop of 5.6, focal length 460mm, and then I've got a shutter speed of 1/1000th of a second. Obviously the really low ISO allows me to take a really fast shutter speed shot with a crisp image. So let's now start. So I'm going to start by making this nice and big. I want to be able to see what I'm doing, so I'm going to make this really big. Well, not that big. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise the exposure slightly, then I'm going to raise the black point a little bit, then the contrast slightly, and the clarity just a little bit, because I already want to get some detail here. You'll see up and around here, you can really see the shadows of the craters there. So that's really all you have to do to take a good photograph of the moon. It really is that simple. Just make sure you take it in RAW and then adjust the settings in post. Well, thanks for joining me this time on Kit's Photography. I've had a few comments about something I said in one of my previous videos, and what I actually said was us old photographers. So I'll let you go back and have a look and see what you think. That's actually what I said. So until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your feedback. I'm really interested to know what people think of this channel, and I'll see you next time.